Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we were at Brendan Theaters watching Insidious: The Last Key. If you've seen some of our previous reviews, you know that Nick is not a big fan of horror movies in general. He decided to skip out on this one, so if you're wondering, hey, why is JB doing the hosting gig for this one? That's the reason why. If you've watched some of our previous reviews from the last year, you also know that horror movies are kind of my thing. It's something that I'm really into. I actually have a couple of horror movie themed tattoos on my forearm. As far as Insidious is concerned, this franchise is something that I've really enjoyed over the course of the last 7 or 8 years. The very first one was kind of an opening to a renaissance of these new paranormal type films. So this story kind of has these really grand motions, and a lot is going on. There's so many loose ends that are created throughout the process of the story, and this movie is a prequel, so it tries to find a way to tie some of those loose ends together.
Well, here we are, the fourth movie of the Insidious series. The cinematography and the scare tactics remain the same, but the story actually expands on the characters. Lynn Shaye's character gets expanded. We learn more about her backstory, as well as present day. The movie takes place in 2010, right before the events of the first Insidious film, and that's not giving anything away. We all knew that the prequels were going to lead up to the first Insidious film. The story itself is the movie's strength, I feel. The jump scares, nothing new. If you like jump scares, these provide abundant amount. Some are predictable, some are not. The sound beats they give you and the visual beats they give you right when the jump scares happen, they still make me jump, even though you see them coming, so I guess that works. But it's also kind of annoying sometimes. You know it's going to happen. When it happens, you still jump. It's like, okay, I knew that was going to happen, but I still jumped. But it doesn't really serve the story except make you feel uneasy, which I guess in this case is what horror films are for. I was more interested in the story than the scary elements, to be honest, though. And the story in itself can be scary. But were the jump scares necessary? Not exactly, but that's what Insidious is.
As far as the actual story itself is concerned, I felt like while it did a lot of really great things for the story as a whole between the four of these movies and kind of tying things together and making things kind of pop, and it kind of had some similarities to Annabelle Creation in the way that it tied some of the points of that franchise and kind of pushed everything and made it all kind of linked together in a nice cohesive way. That's something I definitely appreciate. As far as the storytelling is concerned, there's one gripe that I really have, and that's that the pacing in the very beginning of this movie was a little off for me. There's a specific point in this movie where it kind of picks up and everything starts to move at a breakneck speed, and that transition is a little bit jarring at first, but it's definitely welcomed. It's a little bit slow at first, and then as it kind of picks up and it hits that point, everything starts to move and fall into place, and there's so many things to watch on screen. Without digging into too much detail and, spoiling the entire story of this movie, the big centerpiece for this is the characters. There are some moments with Specs and Tucker, the ghost hunters, that follow Lynn Shaye's character around, and kind of help her with her paranormal findings and try to put her in the forefront. There's one line that they use that really sums it up really well, and I don't want to spoil it because it's the first time you hear it, you have to hear it a second time, and then it kind of hits you and it's really funny. There are a few moments with them that kind of add some kind of camp flavor to this, which wasn't something that I was necessarily expecting, and not something that I could take it or leave it. It's not really something that jumped out at me as something that needed to exist in this type of franchise that, for the most part up to this point, has taken itself fairly seriously. They don't completely break the immersion for you, and they are some moments, like I said, they do kind of break up some of that tension and allow you to move on to the next, heavy set piece. Those storytelling motifs are things that are pretty prevalent in sequels as far as horror movies are concerned.
I gotta say, the lead actress, Lynn Shaye, gives her best performance I've ever seen in any of the past Insidious films, or any films in general. I haven't seen too many films of her in there. She made a cameo in Nightmare on Elm Street, made another appearance in Wes Craven's New Nightmare as a different character, and now she really I kind of think of her as the elder version of the Scream Queen. Specs and Tucker can continue to give the comic relief in this film. Some of the jokes fall a little flat, are a little overemphasized, but other times they are subtle. When they're subtle with their jokes, it actually comes off as a little more funny. And the comic relief for it is a little necessary, because sometimes you just need that little break from the tension that the entire atmosphere of the movie gives you.
Overall, the characters that are brought forward that are new characters in this franchise are something that are interesting. It's going to be different to see where they take some of these other characters that they've introduced, and to see if they come forward in any new installments moving forward. Overall, it doesn't do anything new or interesting as far as the actual scares are concerned. It uses a couple of archetypes that were set up by the first film kind of doing the pull away and then the ghost is over the shoulder kind of thing. That seems to be kind of their calling card. They do it in every single one of these films. So you are kind of waiting and expecting it to happen, and they try to tease you in a couple places and make it seem like it's going to happen, but there definitely is one that's somewhere in there. I'm not going to tell you where it's at. Have fun getting scared. Like I said, it's not like they're doing anything new, but it definitely does still grab you. It still makes you, makes you jump out of your seat a little bit, and that's, I mean, what you're really looking for when you go into a horror film is to be immersed and to be scared. So it's really interesting to see a movie like this, or a movie franchise like this even, that takes a story that's really interesting and would work well even in just like a drama type setting and puts it forward in a horror movie that has those types of jump scares that will kind of catch you off guard and make you really believe what's happening could potentially happen to someone. And as far as that's concerned, like I said, that's really something that's a little bit new and a little bit different as compared to other horror films that are currently out now. You know, you have your slashers and your more gore type movies. I feel like this type of movie is something that's well appreciated. I'm glad that I saw it in theaters. I really hope that they continue to move on with this franchise and move on with the story. There were just a couple of mishaps for me, but overall I felt like this movie is definitely worth the watch, even if you wait until it comes out on Netflix or something along those lines.
I hope going forward they actually continue to make sequels that go beyond the second Insidious Chapter 2, which in chronological order is the latest one. Can't wait to see what they do with the new characters if they continue to go forward with the new characters they introduced. Overall, I'm going to give this horror film, well, a 7 out of 10. While not providing anything new, groundbreaking as far as terror and horror is concerned, it continues to expand on the story of the past Insidious films. So if you're a fan of the Insidious franchise, you'll like this movie. You'll even love it. But if you're not big on horror film in general, this movie might come off as a little, oh, been there, done that, seen this and that, generic type.
Overall, I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I probably won't see it in theaters again. Definitely was an interesting ride. Like I said, I'm excited to see if they do anything else with this franchise as far as moving it back into present day and forward. So I'm curious to know, what is your favorite horror movie franchise? Go ahead and leave a comment down in the section below. It's really hard for me to pick, but my favorite franchise is going to have to be Scream. The way that they do those movies and the way that they piece together this like meta story around something that's legitimately scary is something that's completely groundbreaking to me, and I'm really glad that they were able to make that franchise. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more movie reviews, Funko Pop news and videos, fan films, gaming content. The sky is the limit. You'll get at least 4 videos on this channel per week. And then if you would like to check out our top 5 movies of the year, that's going to be up here. Our most recent pop news video is going to be here. I hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.